guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go.
All right, guys, it is October 18th, Thursday, and it is 9:48 p.m. I apologize that I'm getting a late start today, but it's better late than never. So, let me get into something here. I'm going to be touching on the Q-related news, as I have been doing during this long period of no Q posts. Q fast, I've been calling it. But perhaps we're in a period of 10 days of darkness, of which Q has spoken on multiple occasions. Now, I want to talk to you about something before I get into this, and it's serious because several people have asked me, and I want to be completely honest with what I think. They've asked me if I feel that martial law is coming. Well, as a matter of fact, I do. And I know immediately many of you will think, well, how could you say that if you feel that Trump and Q are really in control? Why would you say that? Well, I'll tell you why I say that. And to me, it's just logical thinking. Now, we know that there's not going to be a big blue wave. There certainly is not going to be a blue tsunami, and there's not going to be a blue wave. There may be a slight blue ripple. I don't know. But when the Democrats lose, and they will, because that is becoming more and more evident, what do you think will happen to the left? Do you think that they will just go off gently into that good night? Now, I'm not talking about death. No, I'm, being silly, but they're not going to just say, oh, well, we tried. No, that's not going to happen. And you and I, if we look at what's happening logically, we know that's not going to happen. What do you think's going to happen to people like Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren? I mean, these are just a few names. What do you think is going to happen to these people? How do you think they're going to react? I think that the left is going to become completely unhinged, and I think there's going to be blood in the streets. Now, I don't want that. I'm not saying that because it's what I want. I'm certainly not saying it because it's something that I fear. I'm saying it because it's logical to think that way. It's logical to look at what's happening and to draw a conclusion that, yeah, there's going to be unrest after the election, after the midterm elections. There's going to be unrest. And we don't know yet what October surprises, as there's always an October surprise before an election, always. We don't know what October surprises lie in wait. Now, the Democrats have certainly, you can't fault them for trying. They've tried their very best. In fact, I believe that this huge caravan of illegals pulsing towards the border, I believe that has been orchestrated by the left. I believe it's been funded by Soros. I believe a lot of these demonstrations and, that we're seeing that turn violent are funded by the left. These are not reasonable people. Some of them have been paid to protest, and some of them do not have the wherewithal to be able to think for themselves that, you know what, violence is probably not a good thing. So, yeah, I do believe that there is going to be martial law, because how else can you usher in the military tribunals? I don't see how we can go from where we are here to there, the military tribunals. You really think the left is just going to go, oh, okay, well, Trump wants tribunals. Okay, well, some people are going to be put to death. Okay, that's not going to happen. There is going to be violence in America. I do believe that. I don't want it. I pray that it isn't so, that it can be averted by any means necessary. But I have to think back to when the Q post began, all right? And Q told us as much, that there would be military law and to not worry, that it was everything was going to be under control. Now I'm going to have to go back and find some of those posts, and I may have to do a separate video on it, because I think people right now, we're not hearing from Q. We're hearing a lot of things in the media, which which has been ongoing, but we're hearing a lot of voices right now. And sometimes it's hard when someone that you have been listening to and following is not speaking. Now, we've got Trump, but Trump is not giving us the type of information that Q gives us about what is going on behind the scene. So I think people are getting, I'm getting some interesting comments. I've received some interesting threats. I say interesting because I think these people have too much time on their hands and I'm not afraid of them. So, I laugh. It makes me laugh. So, if you feel like you need to threaten me, go ahead. It really does provide some entertainment. So, and maybe sometime I'll just read them out on air. That would be fun too. I think. But it would show you how ridiculous some of these people are and unhinged. But anyway, that's where I stand, okay? So for all you people that have asked, that's exactly where I stand and what I believe. I really pray that I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I really don't. I have a very strong feeling that something is coming. You can feel it. You can feel it in the atmosphere. I don't know. I think there are so many unknowns because the deep state is not going to go away gently. They're not going to just go, oh, we lost. Oh, well, that's not going to happen. They're going to try to retain power with any means necessary. You've got Rosie O'Donnell calling for, she thinks the military should go and just, go and get Trump. Yeah. So you've got a lot of unreasonable voices out there that people, for some reason, listen to. I don't know why, but they do. So that's where I stand with that. Now, I'm going to go on with the Q-related news, but I may, and put it down in the comments below. If you want me to elaborate on what I've just said and say what I think and why, I don't just say things without having the means to back it up, because I tend to look at things logistically and, try to map out what it is that I believe and why. And, I can certainly back it up, and we'll go back and get Q posts and show where he has made statements that would be very much in line with expecting martial law at some point. I don't know how long it would last. I would assume that it would last as long as it's necessary and as long as there is unrest. It may not be the whole entire country, maybe parts of the country. So I don't know, but that's where I stand. Anyway, let's get started with Q-related news because there's a lot of it. And I'm going to, on some of this stuff, because I've got so much, I'm not going to read, I'm going to touch on stuff so that you can get the overview of everything that's going on, because I think that's important. We can't be in depth on everything, but it's important to know all this stuff, I think. I really do. So, and I don't think you'd be listening if you didn't think it was important. So, here we go. Fire up the hamsters. Come on. Hurry. Oh, Drives me crazy, this computer. All right, bankruptcy judge hits Michael Avenatti's firm with restraining order to freeze legal fees in 54 cases. So, this man, who is really probably the most undesirable man on earth, that's how I would look at him. Now, I am not married, and as a woman, looking at him, I think he would probably have to be, actually, no, I would think I would prefer to just be single forever, rather than, ever. Blah. Ugh. Anyway, that's just my, it's not, I don't hate men at all. In fact, the opposite. I think men get a very bad deal these days. But Michael Avenatti, anyway, he's apparently bankrupt, and a federal bankruptcy judge issued a restraining order late Wednesday to block the firm of Michael Avenatti, the lawyer for porn star Stormy Daniels, from spending any fees it collects while it owes more than $10 million in unpaid debts and back taxes. $10 million. That's a lot. So, the move by Judge Catherine Bauer of U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Santa Ana was a severe blow to Avenatti, whose personal financial troubles have deepened as his star has risen on cable news. Yes, his star. That's exactly what he's wanted all along, and has even went... This is how ridiculous this man is, and out of touch with reality. He thinks he has a chance in the 2020 election. Yes, he does have a chance. Not at the election, but a chance of being laughed at and ridiculed and made fun of course, because it's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go on from there, because this is just... bleh. It's like... Have you ever just touched something and there's grease on it or something? You're in a nice restaurant, you pick up the tableware and it's greasy. That's what I feel when I look at him. I feel like my eyes are greasy. I feel like I've got grease on my eyes. Okay, I'm being ridiculous, but I'm just saying. Just saying. All right, let's go back. Now, let's look at this. And this is from Dr. Conservamom. I love that name, and I do follow this person because they put interesting things on Twitter, which I like. Watch as this American patriot schools a CNN reporter on the divisiveness of identity politics, anti-Trump media bias, the Democrat plantation, and the pitfalls of globalism. Yes, this man, oh my gosh, he does a job like no other. Now, let's listen.
Race and divide. It's always divide and conquer. It's a scam. And I know it's not going to get on CNN. Lucky enough, but I've been out here making sure that I express my support for Mr. Donald J. Trump. And I'm fighting back against people like Black Lives Matter, which CNN supports, along with the Hillary Clinton Foundation and the Bill Clinton Foundation, the traitors to this country.
What do you think about the fact that white supremacists support Trump?
It doesn't matter.
Do you hear that? Here's this black man. Now, any reporter knows, I mean, he's wearing a Trump hat, and he has spoken quite well, about what he feels and what he thinks. And here's this clueless reporter from CNN. Well, what do you think of the fact that white supremacists support Trump? What do you think he's trying to do? It's quite evident what he's trying to do. He hasn't listened to one thing the man has said. He just wants to get in his little jabs there.
That's the right to free speech. I'm sick of this race and divide, and CNN is perfect at doing that. It's always divide and conquer. People have the right to choose whatever they want. What the hell does that got to do with Donald Trump? He's not a racist. I'm sick of that. It's a scam, and I know it's not going to get on CNN. We're sick sick of you media.
What do you think about what he just said to you? That's maybe not a fair question to ask. You're just trying to associate Trump with racism.
He was never called racist before he started running against the Democratic Party.
I mean, is that a fair question to ask? Are you saying that Trump is racist because some racist guy supports him?
I'm just here doing my job.
Oh, but that was your question.
That's a good question, man.
Yeah.
At least answer it.
Yes, because Trump is not a racist. And again, it's the media who gives us those perceptions. You see, because the Democratic Party, they always control the black people. It's a plantation. As long as they're on the mammary gland of America, sucking, getting their food stamps, getting their welfare, and they're not dreaming for the stars. They're not, and society is killing that dream. They're killing that dream by this globalism. Hell with globalism. Because globalism takes away America's wealth.
See, this guy, I don't know who this black man is, but he is very well spoken, and he has put together the argument so well. You can tell that he's a very intelligent man. And here's this reporter. I mean, they asked him a question, but he wouldn't answer it. They said, "Well, why do you think Trump is racist, or why do you think he's racist?" And this black man says, very, very well spoken. He's I don't know. I lost what I was going to say, but does that ever happen to you? I hate that. It just goes. It's there and then it's gone. Anyway, and he said, okay, well, just because there are white supremacists that support Trump, I support free speech. They're able to, if they want to be white supremacists, they can be white supremacists. But that doesn't mean that Trump is racist, But anyway, it's totally lost on this guy, and it's too bad, really. I know that he's doing his job and he's doing what he's been told to do, and he probably is embarrassed about being caught this way by somebody who was I don't know how this got out. Somebody probably had a cell phone, but anyway, it's good stuff, very good stuff. Now, Laura Ingram said, "Who is funding the migrant caravan? Each migrant's passage can cost as much as $7,000 each. Per capita income in Honduras is $2.3 thousand. Now, I know that as a fact because I've been in Honduras. I've been all over Honduras. I have done missionary work in the rainforest there, and I know back then, now this was in the late 80s, and I went again in the 90s for the same reason, but in the late 80s, I remember a Coke was $1 American, and to buy a Coke, it was $1 American, but that was the equivalent of, I can't remember how much, because it was 50 cents to see a doctor. So a Coke cost more than it cost to see a doctor. So it was, the per capita income in Honduras back then was extremely low. I mean, very low, like it was in the hundreds per year. So yeah, it's obvious somebody is funding this, and it's obvious when you see people handing these people money, and these people don't look down and out. You look at them, the shoes that they have on, the strollers that they're using, these are not poor people. And anyway, this is interesting because if I can find it, and hopefully I put it in here somewhere, gosh, I hope I did anyway. I bet I didn't. Dang it. Maybe we'll come across it as we go, because it showed that there is no possible way that these people are walking because of the ground that they're covering. And I wondered that. I actually wondered that because I have some sense of how large Honduras is, and Guatemala and Mexico and so forth, because I've been to this area, I've been all over. So I wondered that. I thought, because there's a lot of children in that group and a lot of babies and so forth. How You know, you can't walk that many miles in a day with a baby or a stroller. It just isn't done. And kids get tired, especially young children. And, you know, carrying a young child is tiring. So I'm just wondering, are these people really walking? Their clothes are clean. They're well laundered. They're looking fresh. They're looking like their hair's clean. So yeah, somewhere in here, in this mess of news, I have something that shows and proves that it's not possible. They're getting rides. They're getting van rides or bus rides or whatever. Who is paying for all this? I think it's Soros. I think that it's pretty evident, because who has that kind of money? I guess Soros would probably be the only one that would have that kind of disposable income. Anyway, let's go on. Yes. Now, speaking about why I think that martial law might have to be imposed after the election, this might be a good indication. Now, let's watch this guy. Okay, he's obviously doesn't like Ted Cruz. Okay, well, let's just listen.
Gonna take them down. If you live here, if it's your property, that's what I was wondering.
That is my property.
It is your property?
Yes.
Okay. This is... Oh, that's your property too, though, huh?
That's my neighbor's property. He's a gun owner.
Oh, I'm a gun owner too.
I would watch. Be careful.
If you guys shoot me over that, that would be great. That would be really, like, you know, along the same appropriate response. That would be...
You know, I have about 100 of these. I'm about to put more out.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll feel better about that.
Cruz! I hate Ted Cruz! I hate Ted Cruz! I hate Ted Cruz!
Look at this clown, he's following me! Yeah, we should probably leave.
I've lived here for 15 years, not had this behavior. He just went nuts. Tore up our signs.
I tore up his Ted Cruz sign because I've lived here for 26 years. Grew up here. You moved here? You moved to Montrose? You're not from Montrose? Man, Ted Cruz does not belong in fucking Montrose. Go to the Woodlands. I'm not going to that. I'll just take a walk around the block.
Yeah, so I think that answers the question. Don't you think so? I mean, here's this guy walking onto other people's property, ripping up signs. I mean, people see political signs all the time. They don't go onto people's property and rip them up. I mean, that's just... And then, I mean, what was that display? Just absolutely ludicrous. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah, there's more. All right. Oops. Didn't want that again. Let's go back to this. Now, I thought this was interesting. Here's Elizabeth Warren. I'm ready to support working people and help middle-class families build real security. I'm ready to root out corruption and clean up Washington. I'm ready to stop the politics of hatred and division so we can bring back core American values like diversity and respect. Okay, so Elizabeth Warren, what you're saying is you're just ready to start doing your job. What is it that we've been paying you to do all this time? I mean, you're taking money from the American people. You're taking taxpayers' dollars. That's what pays your wage. What have you been doing when you're saying, oh, now I'm ready to support working people? Well, what have you been doing all this time? Really? And my other question is, are you ready to stop calling yourself a Cherokee? That's my other question. Yeah. Number one question, what have you been doing all this time? And number two, are you ready to stop calling yourself a Cherokee? Probably not. And then we have this from the Daily Beast saying, "Dear God, Hillary Clinton, just go away." And I think really that's what we all think. You know, no one benefits from her latest venture back onto the political scene. She's actually a liability for those that she's endorsing. Really. There's a lot of people that once she endorses a candidate, I mean, they just should hang it up and quit. I would not want to be associated with her in any way. Not ever. We're 3 weeks out from the 2018 midterm election, and Hillary Clinton is popping up again like a Halloween ghoul who keeps rising from the grave to terrorize the American public, only this time accompanied by the increasingly Me Too burdened uber villain Bubba. The Clintons, it seems, can't seem to call it quits, even if it means leaving members of their own party cringing and many more voters ready to head desk themselves into a coma. That's how I feel. This time it's happening courtesy of a pay through the nose to see them rehab tour. Of course, you can go see the real president for free. I just wanted to throw that in there. It's free to see him. You know, the real president, the guy that won the election, the guy that's not Hillary. Because if there's one thing America hasn't had enough of over the recent decades, it's efforts by the Clintons to recast themselves as normal, likable people as they cash checks and play the victim. Yeah, that's just about right. Previous editions of this show have included Hillary's 2 Senate runs and 2 presidential runs, which, depending on one's perspective, were either an attempt to show independence from her husband or to be compensated for his myriad screw-ups. But despite the last run ending with a loss to Donald freaking Trump, the most flawed candidate Republicans could conceivably have run in 2016, it appears that nothing will get Hillary out of our political debate once and for all. Now, I don't believe that Donald Trump is the most flawed candidate that Republicans could conceivably have run. I don't believe that at all. But I do believe that Hillary is the most flawed candidate that the Democrats could have run. I think that they could have put a clown up there who would have been done better. You know, Bozo the Clown, or I don't know, Itchy and Scratchy. I mean, I don't know. Anybody would do better than her. Anybody. I mean, she would have done better if she was just a cardboard cutout. But, you know, what can you say? You can't make her listen. I mean, how many people have probably tried to tell her, Hillary, you know, please, for the love of all that's holy, please go away. But she won't. She won't. She won't. All right. Well, let's go on, shall we? And this is, I swear, the funniest thing I've seen in a very long time. I had to show you guys. It's a mosquito. And just like that, Elizabeth Warren's Indian blood was gone. Now, I don't care who you are. That's funny. That's freaking funny. All right. Let's go on. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Let's look at this. Now, ilovemyfreedom.org, President Trump and political breaking news. I like this website already. Breaking: after Melania calls out rapper for degrading a video, online boycott goes instantly viral. That is karma, my friends. Not that I believe in karma per se, but I do believe that what goes around comes around. So he did deserve it. On Tuesday, Melania Trump and her staff called for a boycott of rapper T.I. after he depicted her stripping for him in the Oval Office. Many conservatives were outraged at the degrading video, which showed the rapper sitting on the president's desk while a half-naked female resembling the First Lady danced for him. Less than 24 hours after Melania's office called for a boycott, more than 50,000 people had supported her and stood with her in solidarity, although nearly every supporter of the boycott has said they don't even listen to T.I. They signed the boycott anyway to show their love and support. Within minutes of being posted, the boycott went viral on social media. Now, I don't know who T.I. is, and I would probably rather die than listen to his music, But if I were someone of the ilk to listen to someone like T.I., I would no longer, because I think that what he did way crossed the line. The First Lady's office has called for a boycott to stand in solidarity with Melania Trump. Rapper T.I. has created a video that depicts her stripping for him in the Oval Office, and it's degrading on all levels. Add your name today to show that you will not stand for this disrespect. Now, you could even do this on Twitter. Just tweet, I stand with FLOTUS. I guess this organization may be one that's collecting names. I don't know. I don't know where you'd go to do that, but I know that those of you that are regular listeners, I know how you feel about this, and I know that you will not stand for this kind of disrespect of, the First Lady. It's unbelievable. I've never seen as much disrespect for a First Lady ever as Melania, and she doesn't deserve it. Not at all. She's done nothing to deserve it. So, let's go on. And here's something from a tweet from Trump, a Trump tweet. In addition to stopping all payments to these countries, which seem to have almost no control over their population, I must, in the strongest of terms, ask Mexico to stop this onslaught, and if unable to do so, I will call up the U.S. military and close our southern border. Now, this is how much sway our president has, because immediately Mexico jumped into action and sent federal agents to the border, a huge lot of federal agents to the border. So Mexico is taking this seriously. Now, unlike all of our last presidents, no one took them serious. I mean, did anyone take, Obama seriously about anything? It's like a father or a mother that's constantly saying, stop doing that or I'll spank you. But then you just go on and do it and they'll say, no, I mean it. I'm going to spank you. No, really. If you don't stop, you're going to get a spanking. But they never actually do spank you. So you just continue because you know that it's just a bunch of hot air and they're not going to really spank you. So that's what this is. And I think that the world got used to, the threats and would just go, yeah, whatever. And just keep doing what they're doing. But now we got, okay, daddy's home now. Yeah, we got a daddy in the White House. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to rip your butt up. And he'll do it. So anyway, there you go. All right, and then there's this. State Department provided clearly false statements to derail requests for Clinton docs, shocked federal judge says. We're not going to go out to this because I think we're all aware of this stuff. In a fiery hearing Friday in Washington, D.C., a federal judge unabashedly accused career State Department officials of lying and signing false affidavits. Yeah, that should surprise probably no one. Yeah. So here we go. Okay, this is it. This is Mexico's response here. Now, I'm not going to play it because it's just a video of them arriving. But caravan, 2 planes filled with 500 Mexican federal agents arrive at their border with riot gear and instructions. Do not enter or be detained. All signs point to President Trump's warning. This is historic for Mexico. Thank you. And I would add to that, thank you, Mexico, for taking this seriously, because it is something serious. And the thing is, it's just a publicity stunt for the Democrats. That's it. Do you think the Democrats really care about those individuals and what happens to them? No, they don't. They don't care about anything except their own paychecks. And they don't do anything when they're in office. That's quite evident. Nothing gets done. The cheapest or the worst cities in America, and this statistically is true, the worst, most violent cities in America are run by the Democrats. That should tell you a lot. All right. Now, this I found interesting as well, and I felt that I needed to touch on this because The Facebook public funds join push to remove Zuckerberg as chairman. 4 major U.S. public funds that hold shares in Facebook Inc. on Wednesday proposed removing Chief Executive Officer Mark Zuckerberg as chairman following several high-profile scandals, and said they hope to gain backing from larger asset managers. Now, I'm not going to read all this, but I think we all know why they are concerned, right? And if you ran a company or a fund that had huge stocks in Facebook, you would be concerned as well. So I think that they have every right to be concerned and to want to push to have them removed. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go on. And Mark Meadows called for Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein to step down Thursday following explosive testimony from Comey's confidant James Baker. Baker testified on Thursday for the second time about Rosenstein's plan to wear a wire and use FISA warrants to oust Trump. Yeah. So now I have, and I think I may have put this down here, Rosenstein has agreed now to testify before the Senate on the October 24th, I believe. So we'll see what happens. Not holding my breath, but one never knows. And this, which I can't remember what it is. Oh, surprise. It's this. Now, this shows that it's not possible for them, that caravan, to be walking. They're not walking. Okay, Anons, I did a little rough calculating using news reports and online maps. I figured out how far the migrant caravan is traveling each day. There is no way in hell these people are walking. And that was taken from the QAnon boards, and there we have the estimate from where they're coming from. San Pedro Sulu. I've been there, and they are walking through Guatemala and through Mexico, and they're ending up here where the federales are waiting. And October 13th, they were in San Pedro Sulu, Honduras. That was the start. And then by October 15th, they crossed into Guatemala at Esquipu. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and I'm not sure. I've never been there. But that is 171 miles. So 171 miles in 2 days, that would be, slightly under 100 miles a day. What would that be? 80? Well, more. About 85 miles a day. Who can walk 85 miles a day? Please tell me. Now, if you are fit and you can walk 85 miles in a day, wonderful. But let's put a child on your back and see how far you can walk. Or let's put you with, a 3 and a 5-year-old. Now can you walk? I've walked 20 miles in a day, and that was my limit. But there's no way. There's no way you could walk that far in a day. It can't be done. So somebody's given them a ride. Now, 400 poor, malnourished, oppressed migrants, including small children, traveling 521 miles on foot in 4 days? That leaves roughly 2,500 miles to travel in 18 days to be at U.S. border at Tijuana in time for Election Day. Equals 138 miles a day on foot. Yeah, these calculations assume no one sleeps, ever. They walk. Oh yeah, I believe that. Sure I do. Sure I do. Yep. Yeah, and there's a picture of them being driven. So the Honduran caravan is currently being driven towards the USA on trucks. They may arrive sooner than expected. The government of Guatemala does little to stop them from reaching Mexico. Yeah. All right, let's go on. Okay, and then there's James Wood. How can you fall for this midterm election circus act? This is a classic Soros stunt orchestrated so silly actresses can go on The View a week before election and shed crocodile tears about babies being ripped from their mother's arms. Jesus, Geraldo, wake up, buddy. Geraldo Rivera, migrant caravan made up of desperate families seeking a life of hope rather than despair. We can build a border wall, but it would only slow them down. How would a border wall just slow them down? Makes no sense. Every parent wants to give their children a better life. The only way to stop them is to improve conditions in their home country. Yeah. Anyway, that's Geraldo's take, and James Wood is saying, wake up, buddy. Yeah, they don't see it. Now, okay, you guys are going to get, if you haven't seen this, I knew you had to. So, I mean, are you ready? Because this made my respect for Trump go through the roof. He is the master troll. He is the troll master. All other trolls must bow to Trump because he is the master. Look. Pay to the order of Elizabeth Warren. 1/1024th of $1 million, 976.56. Cashier's check. There you go, Elizabeth Warren. I love it. I mean, I seriously love it. Okay, have I mentioned how much I love it? No, really, I do. It's awesome. Oh man, master troller, master troller. Okay, and Rosie O'Donnell, of course, is, she's back in the news. I know. I didn't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it, but I know it's painful. Rosie, a word of advice. Never start shit with the world's most powerful man who just recently got a hooker to pay him, stopped a walking dead horde of illegals with a phone call, plays the MSM like a fiddle, and is commander of the same effing military you're talking about. Now, okay, I'm not a big fan of foul language, but that's funny. It is. You're right. You just... Okay, if I was going to start a fight with someone, it sure as heck wouldn't be President Trump. Seriously. You can't win against him. He's so good at what he does. You can't win. So, I don't know what she thinks she's doing or what she thinks she's accomplishing. Dunno. But here's some ridiculous news that I had to throw in here. I think it is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've read, at least this week. But who knows? The week's not over yet. This is the America First Media Group. And look at this. Kleenex to end production of its man-sized tissues after consumers claim them sexist. You've got to be kidding. So I guess the Hungry Man dinners are next. I think we should all write in there and say, well, this is sexist. Claiming that the Hungry Man dinners, they're TV dinners. Well, they're revolting, but they're man size. So anyway, yeah. No more man size tissues for you. Your big man hands are going to have to find some other tissue. Yep. All right. It's too bad for the big man hands, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. Wasn't me that complained. I wouldn't do something like that, personally. I think it's perfectly fine if Kleenex wants to call them man size. Because, men generally have bigger hands. They need bigger tissues. They don't want to get that snot all over their fingers. My gosh, people. Anyway, let's go on. I guess, now I'm not going to get into this real deeply because it's ridiculous, but it's so ridiculous, it's ridiculous. But here we go. Some of the press are getting together. Media members hit rock bottom, file lawsuit against Trump for calling them fake news. Please do something. Trump's being mean to us. I hate it when Trump's mean to us. He's just a mean man. So, yeah. Anyway, good luck with that lawsuit. Hope it doesn't cost you too much. He'll probably win back his legal fees, but hey. All right, let's go on. Enough of that. All right, what do we have next here? Yes, this. Prime Minister Abe Shinzo of Japan has been working with me to help balance out the one-sided trade with Japan. These are some of the investments they are making in our country. Just the beginning. Now, take a look at this. Read and weep. No, don't weep. We don't have any reason to weep. 20 billion investment, 37,000 job creation announced by Japanese companies since President Trump took office. The #1 international investor in America. Oh, but I'm sure that, this was really Obama's doing. You know, how Obama stood up there and people said, oh, he said to people, you just remember when this recovery began. Just remember. Well, I remember. I remember when the recovery began. It was when Trump was elected president. Everybody remembers that. Come on. All right. Now, we're just about done now. Rosie O'Donnell, well, let's just go out and look at this. Maybe, if the hamsters will cooperate. Come on. I need to get an Apple computer. That's what I need to do. I may not agree with everything Apple does, but they do make a fine computer. All right. Rosie O'Donnell, send military to the White House to get Trump. Now, she is looking, better. I mean, she's looking more, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I need to stop. I'll get myself in trouble. Rosie O'Donnell said on MSNBC Thursday that she wants to send the U.S. military to the White House to get President Donald Trump. O'Donnell made the comments while appearing in a wild segment of Nicole Wallace's MSNBC show called Deadline White House. O'Donnell was describing how she was depressed for a year after Trump was elected when she proposed a coup of the presidency. What I wrote on Twitter was that we should impose martial law until we make sure the Russians weren't involved in the final tally of the votes. And people were like, martial law? What's wrong with you? Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. What's wrong with you? Really? Seriously? What's wrong with you? Anyway, if I was going to, she's chosen the wrong man to pick a fight with. Seriously. But anyway, now I will admit that Trump was kind of mean to her, but they're adults. Give me a break. All right, and then the last thing is just about Rod Rosenstein's testimony on the 24th, and I don't think we really necessarily need to get into that and read all that. So, because who knows what the 24th will bring. Yeah, I guess it'll depend on what mood he's in. But anyway, that is the news for tonight. The news that I think that you will be interested in hearing. And that's about it. So I'm going to sign off for the night and get this uploaded. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we will have an appearance by Q tomorrow. I don't know. But if not, I'll bring you something else. I will bring you Q-related news or perhaps something else. I don't know. But I guess it's like I don't want to stop. It's like I just want to continue and find more stuff. But I'm going to sign off now. And I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, that you stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. Good night.